There are certain sure signs in the sports world each year that spring has arrived. The boys of summer begin warming up in the sun of Florida and Arizona. The Golden Bear and his counterparts take their annual 4-day tour through the azaleas at Augusta National. Tears are wiped away at Churchill Downs after the playing of My Old Kentucky Home, so one can see the run for the roses. And the best bowlers in the world arrive in Fairlawn, Ohio, between Akron and Cleveland for the most prestigious of all bowling events, the Firestone Tournament of Champions. The kickoff to the week's festivities is the Dinner of Champions and the PBA Hall of Fame induction ceremony. In 1982, these men who proudly wear the white blazer of a Firestone winner gathered to salute their latest comrade to roll his way into the hall.
The qualifications are as strict as they can be, and that's as it should be. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. When a person is elected to the PBA Hall, he is one of the best who has or ever will live. In its short life, only since 1975, this ultimate honor has gone to only 24. Tonight, we make it 25. He knew the streets, but he really wasn't a street kid. By the time he was a teenager, his reputation had started to spread. Watch out for that skinny kid from Brooklyn. He's a lot stronger than he looks. And even though he's a lefty, he can bowl. Bowl he did in every type of competition, at any house, at any hour, and often for any stakes. And if this was the Eastern bowling world's version of survival of the fittest, then so be it, for it produced some great bowlers. But that slim kid with glasses was a cut above. He had a little more brains, and he kept reading and learning to improve the thinking process. And he worked a little harder to keep himself in top physical condition. And he had a little more fight and a little more guts. And he hated to lose a lot more than the average guy. He won his first title back in 1966, some 16 years ago in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And he's only 35 now, youngest ever to be elected to the PBA Hall. He served in Vietnam and he came back raring to go. And then came 1971. It was an explosion, 5 titles, including the Firestone, and $85,000 plus in earnings, a figure that would be a minimum of $250,000 today. Now he has won 14 tournaments, among them the most glittering jewels in the bowling kingdom, the Firestone, PBA National, BPAA US Open. Only Billy Hardwick can match that feat. He has won 3 tournaments in a row. Only Dick Weber and Mark Roth fit in that select group. He was only the 7th bowler to pass the $500,000 mark in career earnings. His career average is better than 210, and 11 perfect games have come his way. He's had many big years, 2 over 50,000, 2 over 40,000, 5 others over 25,000, and all that in an average of 24 tournaments per year, making his per tournament average better than 2,000, one of the most impressive in that area. He's a boon to any tournament or exhibition because of animation and appealing style. He puts his heart and mind and body and soul into everything important he does. On the lanes, he's a weapon, almost as though he has allowed the best of his expertise and the martial arts to come to life in the explosion of a bowling ball against the pins. Off the lanes, he's involved as a longtime tournament committee member, executive board member, and past president. He thinks, he strives, and he also shines as a TV color man and a guest speaker at all types of events. He throws himself into charity drives as strongly as he strives for a clutch strike. He is proud that he came into the sport and saw and competed against the likes of Don Carter, Dick Weber, Harry Smith, Ray Bluth, Billy Whaley, and the early heroes of the PBA. And ever since I can remember, in any biographical sketch, whenever he was asked his goal, it was simple, to be elected to the PBA Hall of Fame. He has never demanded attention, but he has always commanded attention. To paraphrase Longfellow, efforts of great people all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. Our honored guest has permanently placed his footprints on the bowling sands. The goal has been achieved, and we proudly welcome to the Hall of Fame, Johnny Petraglia.
First of all, to you ladies and gentlemen ladies and gentlemen in the audience who don't know her, I'd like to introduce without question my better half, my wife, Pat. And normally, the people that are going into the Hall of Fame will sit at the head table by themselves. But this year, I just turned out to be the only one going in, so I have some close friends and roomies for 10 years, Joey Berardi, Frank Art, Jim Euler, and my 2 roommates, Dave Davis and Dave Sutar. And we go back a long way. Sutar even had hair when we started to room together. About 22, 23 years ago, right about then, I went to Madison Square Garden and I watched Dick Weber and Don Carter. And from then on, the only thing I wanted to do was bowl on the PBA Tour. And in '65 in Detroit, I finally got my wish. And when I walked into the locker room, it was like heaven. All the superstars were there. Bluth, Carter, Salvino, Harry Smith, Dick Weber, Billy Whalum, Buzz Fazio. There was one superstar missing, Steve Nagy. And that was the one person I really wanted to meet. But it was the absence of the man that showed his greatness. We had our general membership meeting that week, and Eddie Elias, who was then executive director, announced at the meeting that Steve was sick, very sick. And frankly, he was running out of money. The hospital bills were piling up, and he couldn't pay them. That's all that had to be said. As if one, all the members got up, they came up to the podium and donated their money. And it's a day that I'll never forget. And it really made me proud to be at my very first tournament to be a PBA member. And besides all of the superstars that were there was also what the late, great Billy Whalum called the Young Lions. Dick Ritker, Wayne Zahn, Billy Hardwick, Dave Davis, Dave Sutar, Bo Burton, Jim Stefanich, and a couple of years later, a guy named Earl Anthony came along. The importance of a Hall of Fame is who's in it. So in the future, when somebody asks me how it feels to be a member of the Hall of Fame, I'll just show them this list, and I won't have to say any more. Thank you.
Johnny Petraglia, the left-handed kid from Brooklyn who marched onto the lanes with talent and determination, now stands with the immortals of his sport.